Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, let's start it here. Fox,
Excused.
Bridges,
Here.
C. Hoeskma,
Here.
L. Hoeskma,
Here.
Mr. Kenyon,
Here.
Mr. Kirk,
Excused.
Mr. Kruse.
Here.
Corbett.
Yeah.
Mr. Ries, present. Mr. Weiss.
Here.
Ms. Young.
Here.
And Mrs. Zelenak.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you. Approval of agenda of September 3rd, 2014 is presented.
That right into the business?
Oh, yes. I had D, board member resignation.
New business?
Under new business, yes.
That's called a problem.
Any other changes?
Kelly had mentioned maybe discussing some of this new business at another time. Is it all, I mean, is it,
And we're,
old business is gonna take a little while.
It's time sensitive, so we need to move ahead with it.
It's just that letter.
It is, we have a letter of commitment that would be due before the next meeting, so we need to, it's time sensitive. Any other changes? Then I move we accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes of August 6, 2014. I have one change I want to make. Absent was Young's location was unknown, but unknown to me at the time, I had received an email from her stating that she would not be here, so that should be changed to excused.
Okay.
Any other changes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? No public comment? Moving on. Correspondence, I will cover this in the previous sections, the correspondence I have for the DDA. Committee reports, I was hoping, I haven't really talked to you about it, but could you give us an update on what's going on with the open space?
We removed all the turf from the Pelican because we gotta put where the ice skate rink's gonna go on the right side. And I had my guys come in, from the golf course, and we had the turf picker-upper. They picked up the turf, resodded the whole thing, didn't cost us anything, other than $200 for the guys to do the labor. Because we're gonna tear it up anyhow, might as well use the grass. Put a D&M volunteered for free and put in a frost-free faucet, tapped it into your water supply. Electrical contractor friend of mine, he donated, he done the breakers, and I bought a few electrical things, and there's 2 circuits there now, so we can do a stage, plus a plug up top to plug in lights or anything else we want. That was tapped off the village's pole. That's done. Lyle Loveless, another volunteer, built a bulletin board and is working on the door. Linda Loveless, who's one of my painters, painted the back wall for free. Lyle now built the stage. Should probably be pretty ready to go. Bought a couple pieces of hose with a timer and stuff, and Cory's been checking on it and just making sure it's cut the water and it's nice and green and pretty. And then we're gonna put a little turf builder there.
It's already starting to get long.
Weed and feed, yeah.
Looking sharp.
Huh?
Looking pretty sharp.
It's right pretty.
Beautiful.
The only thing is I'd like to do is roll it, obviously, if somebody has a roller, that would kinda help, I think, because it, Luke Buffin donated a dump load full of dirt before we did the grass and, leveled it all out for us. And Ken Graham ran the crew and he donated his time. So far it's only cost like $1 or $2.
And Chris had pulled down all that ivy. That was a chore.
It was not really up there that well.
Really?
It wasn't adhered to as much as at your building.
Right,
Really stuck
we
with
don't
it.
wanna mess with that one.
No,
No. Did you do it from the top or from the bottom, just pulling?
just pull the bottom and it just comes flying down.
Bart went up there and pulled the last few pieces.
Yeah.
Our pat-
We didn't want to pull it
insurance.
off his building unless he wanted to, and he pulled it off himself. And I guess you've talked to him, we're trying to get some paint up his wall, right? I think the other wall probably needs to stay, because I think we painted it, might fall down. And so,
I think the ivy's the only
Oh,
thing.
the ivy holds it up.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, we could sandblast, I was like, oh, never not do that. And so, but the brick on Patton's building's in pretty good shape, so we're talking about getting it all painted and then have some kind of contest with the art department at the school and then paint some mural or something.
That would be nice.
Yeah. But there's receptacle up top, like I said, and 2 circuits in the bottom, so we can plug in, do anything.
Was that behind the stage?
Left side, if you're looking at that white wall just to the right of the doorway.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 outlets there stacked and a switch that flips the lights, if we decide to add lights. The receptacle's right there, but I thought we'd do is get some LED lights and just kind of throw them in the ivy. And get some cheap LED Christmas lights and twinkle her up a little bit in the fall. But,
plan to
yeah,
put
she's
that fence
basically
back
ready to
there?
go. And then I talked to Kenny Thompson, who's probably the best one-man musician around. And he volunteered to put a tip jar out there, and a couple other guys have talked about it too, play a little music.
Does he have any time that he's gonna be doing
Anytime we want him to do, as far as we're trying to get him, it's around his schedule. So, I told him to let me know, and what day he can do it, or what night he can do it, and we can just do whatever.
that? Yeah.
Ken, went and got some notices and stuff, and, when Lyle built the bulletin board, it also has a bulletin board so the community can see activities that we're doing and that kind of stuff.
I was
And
gonna-
somebody stole the DDA sign.
What, the improvement sign, I just paid for that.
So I took it.
So they stole it,
Probably they paid for it.
so somebody took and leaned it up against the wall.
And I
wouldn't
didn't
put
do
it
the
back, they
notices.
didn't.
I didn't do that. You can't take credit.
Yeah, and he had Rachel do it.
Rachel did it. I thought I'd take
And
credit.
Ken's a
He's flickering
delegator.
at me.
He's a delegator. So anyhow, it's just got some stuff so that the community can look at who are not tech savvy. How's that?
It looks beautiful, it really looks nice.
Yeah, just downright pretty.
Is there any idea when they're gonna be able to get a fence up over there? I know it's on the back there.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw it up when we put the door in. One time when we got Lyle there, him and I can do it at the same time. Yeah, there's 3 posts sitting there with a privacy fence. And the only thing that's gonna do is we're still gonna leave it open, put no gate there. It just kinda blocks off the back there, it'll look okay.
I'd like to make a recommendation that maybe we get the newspapers to just do a thank you article on everybody that's done the work.
Yes, I think there's some recognition that needs to be
Yeah,
given to those guys.
I'll send you an email, Donald.
Yeah, that'd be
And I'll
very good.
copy Jackie White and put it in my answer tape, maybe here. Take a picture and send it to her. Or send it to you and you send it to her. Cause you guys are tight. You're like peanut butter and jelly.
Well, thank you for helping with that and getting that all going.
Absolutely.
It's,
Yeah.
it's very nice.
I'm sure he won't
Great.
put his name on that list, if I hadn't had his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And I think you got something, didn't they finally do the lot?
We're working on getting, we have the lot. We're working on getting the deed recorded.
Oh, he called me the other day and said he got recorded. You
I
like-
think the problem might be we have to include that other piece of village property on it to make it a big enough lot that we're talking about.
Yeah, Tom said,
Yeah,
oh,
I called the
hey,
other
it's all, it's
day.
official, it's been recorded. I'm like,
No, I called and of course, I tell you, when you call Antrim County and there's 3 people in the office, the right one's not there, they don't know anything. I was a little disgusted, I really was, it's like, it's her day off, so nobody knew anything about what was going on. I said, really? But that's how it works. So, when she gets back, she'll let us know, but there was some, and I think that's probably what
I
it
think
is.
the
It
only
didn't mean
reason
they
Tom
don't want
told
size
me
for a lot
that
of
he's
split
trying
property.
to sell me something else.
Oh, okay, then yeah, it's all done. No, but it will be, it's just a matter, I think we're gonna have to get a new survey probably to include that 15-foot strip of village property beside it.
I think we have to do a boundary adjustment or something.
Yeah, just to make it a lot bigger.
Your
That's
guy,
the only
your
part.
guy has to do that, I think, doesn't
Yeah, well, the village would pay somebody.
he? No, your guy can do it.
No, it'd have to be a legal survey
And that's,
to combine 2 pieces of property. Well, you have to have it legally written. You have to have the property description written to combine 2 pieces.
okay, who's the tax collector guy? What's his name?
Tom Keller?
Yes.
Or Jim Keller? No,
Jim.
Jim. Absolutely.
Huh, when I bought the Pelican room and I bought that lot behind the Pelican, the old Pelican. He said, I'll just change it and,
He might be able to combine them on one tax bill, but we need it as one lot.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we need.
I
I think that's what
I
it's
think you're-
probably.
I think you're right.
It's probably under minimum lot size, but we talked about it and we know we can make it by adding that
Yeah.
15 feet.
And then, where the ice skating rink is, Luke's gonna bring a couple loads of sand and level that out. So it's nice and level, so the water doesn't run downhill. And the lights are already up, and that's all I gotta do is plug them in whenever we're ready.
Awesome.
Oh, good.
And I have goals, and I have pucks, and then somebody found somebody who was it that told me? Was it you?
For what?
You remember who told me? Somebody called and said they volunteered to, they're on a hockey team.
You can tell me that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out who told me.
Well, the Red Wings are gonna be out for,
Yeah.
China.
No, so, I think it was Kenny Graham, yeah. Traverse City, they play on a little team in Traverse City, a bunch of guys from around here. So they like to practice there once in a while, and they said they would keep the whole rink clear and everything else, we let them play a little bit of ice. And they would plow it off and do the Zamboni and do all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
In exchange for them getting to practice there once in a while. I said, sure.
People go down there just to watch them practice.
Huh?
It's people go down there just to watch them practice too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
They're kind of neat.
but the actual physical size is 50 by 90, in case anybody's interested.
50 by 90.
Be fun to find out when they're gonna do the practicing and maybe, put something out.
Thank you. Is there anything else under that?
And if Sam someday can, what we talked about, to get to the lake, somehow, a path, to get whatever we gotta get down there in case we decide to do some winter activity
Mhm.
through the village, to be able to get down on the ice, so we can take the little, somebody can plow it, and then we can run the Zamboni up and down and have some silly thing going on, even ice fishing or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a clear spot to be able to walk down to the lake. But I don't know exactly where all the streams are and all that kind of stuff, so. Gotta be somewhere you guys figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. That's it.
Thank you. That's done on the whole business. The downtown development plan, I think we sent out a copy, when was that sent out, on August 13th? For the initial development plan that, 15th, to everybody, yes. Originally it was set up for the committee on the 13th, I think. And didn't receive a whole lot of feedback on it, so we just kind of proceeded with it. It was a committee made up of myself, Michelle, Melissa, and Ken. We sat down and decided on some projects for the next, 3 to 5 years. And that's what's in the development plan right now. It's a basic plan. The TIF part of things is from a plan that the NLEA, Sarah Christensen actually forwarded on. Does anybody have any comments on it, I guess? That's where we'll start. Everybody's had a chance to review it. Kelly had some comments that she sent via email last night. I hope I answered most of your questions. I tried to. And Melissa talked to
How long-winded are you?
Jan Kellogg, and she had a chance to take a look at it, email me back later today. She says it looks like a good plan. She had some minor changes. If you'll notice, there's a few highlighted areas. I had a black and white printer and the highlights weren't gonna print. There's a few highlighted areas, and those highlighted areas are the areas that Jan suggested that we change. We just add to it. And it was to reference the act, the full act in the first section there. And then it was to add that particular section that says, the estimates of the number of persons residing in the development area and the number of families and individuals to be displaced. And we spent some time this afternoon counting up how many people appear to be in the development area. Approximately 50 persons live in the development area. The DDA has no plans to displace any persons as a result of the development. So there's no, that was added, that was something new. And then there was one other change. Under the tax increment financing procedure, we don't take a percentage of taxes for schools. Yeah, that's not something that we do, so that paragraph needs to be removed. And I left it in there and just put a line through it so you can see what we're removing. And those are the only changes from the document. That you have in front of you.
Print it out, it's quite a document.
Yeah, it's.
Did everybody see Kelly's comment?
Yeah, did everybody get a chance to read Kelly's comments? Because there's some good questions. Any discussion on it?
Thank you for taking the time to respond. It was all really good stuff.
Good. I really try to, I try to stay on top of this. There's a lot to it. There really is.
Well, it took me a long time to type it out.
One of the things Kelly had mentioned was the 20K, that she thought that was a lot, but I don't want that to be confused with the 20 grand budget that we have.
Right.
This is not that.
No, that is,
So that needs to be,
that is a plan for in the future.
Right.
It isn't what we're spending now. It's not what
right,
this
I
year's
know
budget is.
that, and we know that, but somebody reading this
Might not.
may not. That's where most of my comments are. I just have little question marks. Who's this from? Adding like Jan, missing the 1975 Act, things like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we wanna go over all that right now, or if I just give you my notes and you can edit, or,
Well, now's the time to have questions, because we'll hopefully have a vote on this tonight.
Yeah.
voting and incorporating Kelly's suggestions and questions.
Well, I think we've addressed most of what the questions and suggestions were in there. That was the idea about doing this ahead of time. Now, if we want some more discussion on it, that's fine too. That's what we're here for. Is let's discuss it and make sure everybody understands what's going on, and understand this isn't gonna be perfect. This is a flexible document, it's gonna
Right,
change.
right.
over
When we
time.
finish this, then we give it to the council and they approve it, is that
Right, and
correct?
that's not until next
So,
week.
so the question would be, is this acceptable to you as it sits? And then can we redefine it
I
later?
guess you'd have to ask the council.
Well,
I mean, I'm not gonna speak for the council, no way. You know what I'm saying?
well, I'm not saying that, is it
No,
approval?
I think there has to be a public hearing too, right? This
Yes,
isn't gonna
there-
happen at.
Yeah, this isn't gonna approve next meeting.
Right.
This is gonna be another month out.
And here's the bit.
I see, not personally, I think we should talk about the points that Kelly brought up, so we're all on the same page, we go through it point by point and agree and move on, that's just my personal
I think what
thought.
it is, there's a point in each paragraph section that what you do is you go to Kelly and then go to Melissa and stick to a section.
I do,
And
section by
then
section.
Section by section, we'll go straight down and stay organized and stay on task.
I don't have any further comment than what I put in my
I
email.
do, but it's
So
just.
will you just
one
carry
job.
it right to
That's
Melissa?
okay.
I do not, I have not
Go,
reviewed your
go
comment.
ask Patty if you can make her a
Okay.
copy.
Do you have a
Do you
copy
have-
of it?
You want me to go ask Patty?
I
if
do,
you can
but
make
my
her a copy?
notes are all kind of,
Okay.
Oh, I've got a copy
Pass it down.
of the
Of Kelly's?
email from last night, yeah, okay, yeah, I've got that right here. And we could go.
It was not, well, just a general thing, looking at it. It was comments, more to specificity that didn't necessarily need to be addressed at this time, and procedural things that, might have been misunderstood, right? In other words, of how the voting process does, who approves it, that type of thing. And I think that to give it clarity now, right, is basically, we do it, then we turn around and send it to the council, correct? And then the council turns around and puts it to
There'll be a public hearing.
public hearing, right? And sometime in between all that stuff, certain things can be modified. Is that correct?
I think so. I think after the public hearing, there might be a chance to go through and
Yes.
modify stuff.
So this is not, this is a, my thing is if you got 90% of it right, the last 10% takes forever. And then if there's comments about that kind of stuff, you can address those during the step 2, step 3, and so on. In fact, everybody can come back around and show up at the public meeting, and even as members of the DDA, and still be able to talk as citizens. Right, you know what I'm saying? So if there's something that you find in the meantime, you know, you can stop the process in the middle of it, in the end of it, whatever. That's it's an ever-evolving document, is the way I look at it. And I think that if what everybody's always asking for, and it seems like everybody's had to change theirs regardless of who they are, the first one just doesn't work right away, right? That, because everybody's got a problem, is to get something out there. And give you more time to review it.
Well, what do we wanna do then? Do you wanna just discuss?
Well, Kelly just said that she doesn't have any more comments.
Okay.
I
So
just,
go
I
yours.
could throw right at the beginning, I'd have, some of them are just like typos or clarification. We read the first line after 1975, and then it says additional information is available from the village clerk. Like what? Like, as we can go to the village clerk and get everything we ever need to know about the DDA. I wonder what's
Whatever they
what's
have
the
there.
point of that sentence?
That was something that was also in the, what was given to us to the end.
Catch-all.
It's a catch-all.
So anything that's not in here is there if you wanna find out
Okay.
about it.
Running over, where are we at?
Okay.
Yeah.
Section
line.
6. So going down a
First
little
sentence.
further, the DDA will consider, this is under existing improvements to be demolished, blah, blah, blah. Says the DDA will consider an improvement plan that may replace blah, blah, blah. An improvement plan from whom?
We didn't make a decision on that yet. This is very general.
Where
So
you at
the-
again? Yeah, I've been talking about.
Where are we at?
This could be where we talk
Existing
to,
improvements.
So this is an improvement plan from anybody.
this could be,
If
whatever the board.
Corbett comes and
comes
says,
to
I wanna
DDA.
do an improvement to my building, so this is a
No.
general
This is an
catch-all.
improvement plan for the DD district, similar to how, you know, we had the quotes for the development plan. It would be having a company, in my mind anyway, and how I present it to the board, is that and it's up to the board to decide, it's not just what one of us decides. To have a company come in and help us do the, plans for the next 30 years.
But we gotta have this in the plan, right now, that it's something in the future we're looking to do, existing improvements to be demolished. Like, that's pretty generic, it's not saying anything particular, but it's there, so in the future, we have that built into the plan.
It simply says that you're gonna change it down the road or have that option.
At least have that
And
option.
it isn't directed at any one building or any one individual. It's about simply the plan itself.
I guess I'm
When I
confused
read
what you mean
this-
by the building. Like, let's say I wanted to paint my building a different color.
It has nothing to
This
do
had
with it.
nothing to do with
Okay,
it.
so I'm not sure what you mean.
So while it's under existing improvements to be demolished, repaired, or altered, description of
That are
repairs,
in the
blah, blah,
plans,
blah.
that are in our plans, which there are none.
We don't have a plan to consider.
Right.
This would be,
Yeah, that's why you,
We
this is
will in
just
the future,
plan, this
maybe.
isn't directed
Next
to
year.
anybody.
No,
Yeah.
there's nothing to back this up, this is all just general boilerplate stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, do you see an existing plan anywhere?
No,
Do you see a published one?
no.
No, but there isn't one, so the existing doesn't
Let's just say we
exist.
will consider one.
Yeah,
when it-
we'll consider it when the time comes.
We're considering an improvement plan.
I will say, I like Kelly's verbiage better than what's here. I'll say that. On that
Well,
part.
it just
I really
leaves
do.
you going,
I have a copy.
what?
It says, I just
You
like
have
it
a
better personally.
But But this,
I mean,
but
I change everything, but I like the way it
Anybody
talks.
versus.
Well, yeah.
One of the things we're really careful with is painting ourselves into a corner with only being able to do certain things.
Well,
This is something coming out of the train.
We didn't do that comment at
we
all.
can change that.
And I
Well,
don't
let's say that the
remember
DDA will
I just-
consider a
I like
plan,
that
is it,
better than-
is
I
it the
think
stiff
like
plan, is it
when we
the
were
development
back,
plan,
like
is
we
it
bought
Corbett saying
building
that
as
I have a plan to
demolish or
do an
fix
ice
up,
rink?
It's
I
an
mean,
improvement
as a
plan.
public
That
purchase
would
or
include
downtown
the items
purchase.
that they talked about.
Then we have to
Then we have to
implement
implement
plans.
that plan. Then we have,
Facilities.
exactly, we're just telling, we're gonna do that. That's what this
Okay.
plan is saying.
That's
We'll
what I
look at
look at.
those plans.
That's what I'm saying, it's
I
very
just
in
like that
general,
verbiage better than.
I was
not
just-
specific to anything.
Alright,
Did you get your
following
hands?
page, well, it's vague and generic.
So are we, which verbiage are we going with? I raised the
Number-
question there.
I think we should stick with what it is myself, but that's.
It's not
I don't think it means
critical, it's
anything.
just confusing.
I don't think it means
It does when
anything.
people read it. I guarantee you when people read it, they're gonna nitpick it all.
We'll change it up then, we'll use.
Well, then we're gonna have another meeting.
I-
I'm not
well, I
going
have
through this
that
two more
too.
times. I'm serious. If we're gonna change it, we're gonna change it now.
I wrote yes
I'm just
next
not-
to
the
that.
public
I
reads
agree
it,
with Kenny.
all that, but when the public reads it,
This is the exact same verbiage used in Harbor Springs.
don't worry about it.
No, we're not,
Well-
but it's the same
I
idea.
agree with what Kelly said. I put a big fat yes next to what she had written down about her.
I don't, hold on a second.
Where is yours?
Of course, my typo was in there, is the DDA shall not act as a governing force, rather as a resource to local businesses and commercial property owners.
That's state law what a DDA can and can't do,
Yeah,
and so we can't change that, put that in
The
our
public's
plan.
not gonna look, I'm telling you, when the public reads this plan, the public
I
hearing.
know.
I want it worded so they understand, that's all I'm saying. Not that this isn't good, I'm just saying maybe that
Just
hits
put
it
a
a
little
little better
in
that
there.
they know.
Well, what if we
We're not
change
a
Or
governing
just
body.
scratch off the last sentence, say the DDA will implement a development plan that may blah, 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 and end it at renovations to existing buildings, period. Just take off the very last sentence.
Why don't you say the word as they evolve?
As they, at the end,
Yeah,
just, I could go with that.
you know what I'm saying? As they evolve.
And that makes it seem like we.
To her words or to this?
To this, as they evolve, is the last. Where at? The DDA will consider improvement plans to replace downtown facilities, improvements to better promote and enhance use of space by the public as they evolve.
That makes sense, because it's not like we're sitting there with a plan, it's as it was.
and
Well,
just,
consider, they're not,
I just don't like the way it says to enhance the use of space by the public, because that truly is not gonna be every plan that the DDA looks at. They're not always gonna be to improve the space for the use of the public, they're gonna be to improve an existing building, to do other things like that. That's the one that bothers me in there. I don't wanna be like, everything we're gonna do is about an open space for the public or about public use. It's about our businesses and enhancing them too, and making it a better business.
how about
You know, that's,
the use of the
that's,
space
take that
within
public-
you know,
the.
that's part, I don't want people to think it's just solely for that.
Instead of enhancing the use of space by the public, we just enhance the use of the space.
Within the
Within
DDA,
the district.
DDA district.
and to Ken's point, I just wanted to state, you know, from my business aspect, any expansions or renovations or whatever that we do, I'm not going to be seeking any sort of contributions from the DDA. So I just want to make that point clear that this is not, this verbiage change was not to benefit me, but to, like Ken said, incorporate what, like you said, you would like to change the storefront of Mission Computers, help some of the smaller guys that can't afford to fix their storefronts. I mean, and that's what the Main Street program, in my opinion, is designed to do, is to help change that appearance. What I'm going to do with my business, I don't need that help, and I'm not sitting on that board to try to change things so I can get that help. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
In other words, after the dust settles, you don't want people saying you benefited in some way.
Correct.
You, what you did to your building is out of your pocket, your decision. I can understand and appreciate that.
Correct.
He's gonna let people know why you're doing it, so that they, he's gonna remind them.
So we're adding within the DDA area, let's,
Well, now
maybe
that
we
it's
can
been said
say
here,
Instead of
everybody will hear it.
enhance the use of
No,
space
no, it'll be
within the
within the
DDA
DDA area,
district, I put
That's true.
district, but.
whatever, but here, maybe instead of saying we'll consider an improvement plan, it could say consider improvement plans. And it's not like a specific
Yeah.
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
from
that's
anybody,
true.
it could be
Yeah, that's-
plans,
Their improvement plans, yes.
Right.
consider
There's not a
improvement
one-size-fits-all
plans.
plan, it's whatever plan comes across. Yep.
Right, and
Are we
there's
still
just a
doing
little
as they
typo
evolve?
in the,
No,
We're crossing out as they
it's,
evolve.
it's, and improvements to better promote and enhance the use of space within the DDA district. Does that sound?
Okay.
so we'll consider improvement plans that may replace within the district. Right, and then, in the last sentence on that page, the DDA's design committee will lead this effort, which is anticipated to begin in the first quarter of 2015.
Yeah, yeah.
Next page, number 1, it says the DDA has already adopted the Main Street model. I think we should say that the DDA adopted the Main Street model in whenever it was, September 2013 or whatever. Because people are gonna be,
Yeah.
they're not gonna get that at all.
Yeah, we know the
When
date,
did they
let's put it
do
there.
that? What are we talking
Looks more
about?
professional.
Yeah.
When was it?
I can't remember.
Oh, we haven't come talking like.
Well, we had to have a village
It was
council
November,
meeting
it
about
was,
it, right?
it was November, and they approved us in January. They approved us in January.
That's when they put out the notices each year that they approved.
Yeah,
Right.
We were on the list.
we were on the list,
Scratch.
January 2014.
Already, and put in the, when it was, whenever it
I'm sure
was.
it's some meeting that
It's
is
already
already
adopted.
It's January.
Okay.
Well, yeah, when they come through and,
They approved us in
That's when they had the date that it was done.
When was the training? Because we already, that was way before then.
It was approved in January of 2014. I just checked, went through all my emails for that
You
today.
can just look up the date now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll find it.
Okay, so
Yep.
So just stick the date in there.
already adopted the Main Street model.
Oh, is that
The
your
DDA
meeting?
has
January
skipped
14.
already, just say adopted the blah, blah,
Lost
blah.
me what meeting.
Okay.
Your
The
meeting?
Main Street
was-
model in
DDA
January.
adopted it on this day.
Right.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Number 2, it says per season, if maybe we can just stick in quarterly there.
so if once you move that, to approve.
Where you at now again?
Number 2, the DDA will establish one signature event per quarterly season, or per quarter.
I don't know about that one.
Well, we're talking about,
I mean, that's,
It's
I
not-
don't know.
it's not-
it could be hunting season, it could be fishing
Well,
season.
We have seasons every
Say-
5 minutes.
And the reason I wonder about that is because this actually was from that committee meeting, and so the committee met and agreed upon the way that was, as far as I understand, the way that was written. So, I
Well,
mean,
why don't we just say
Oh, you didn't part
4,
of that? Was that my
No,
comment?
no, I just, no.
4 events in a year? Because maybe one's gonna be at the beginning of summer and one a little later at the end of summer.
Establish one signature event activity per,
It's not that big a deal, it's just
Yeah.
maybe.
Why did you say the word yearly?
Just,
four
we'll
signature
esta- why don't
events
we
that
even
could be
just say
yearly.
we'll establish signature events, why even put 4 in there? What if we
That's.
don't do
I was
4?
gonna say, I like that.
How about just putting it to,
and it doesn't have a number in there, it just says per season.
Right, so
So-
just skip it, just say we'll establish events
It's only summer.
Yeah.
to
to
provide.
establish.
to
signature
Just
by
take the
recreation,
season
yeah,
out.
take out season,
Yeah,
Yeah.
activity per season come out.
Signature events.
The DDA will establish
Signature
events to provide recreation in the downtown area.
Right, signature event, correct.
And while I think something to do is cool,
When, where am I at now?
the line, these signatures events will provide locals, that should say local people, not locals. We know what locals are,
Per season, they want to.
right,
just say
but local people.
Establish signature events.
How about
Not one
residents
per season.
I mean,
and
be
visitors?
resident,
I mean,
or just say people, doesn't even have to be local,
Oh,
just
people
say,
sound weird.
well, I'm fine with local people, because visitors, you're trying to bring in people, you're trying to show you bring in.
will provide residents and visitors. How's that?
resident
That's
work.
everybody, right? Residents or visitors. With something to do, maybe instead of something to do, we could say activity in the downtown area. Just,
Signature events and activities in downtown.
If they got signature, just these events will provide the locals.
yeah,
Yep.
will provide residents and visitors with activities in the downtown area.
Well, how about just change that to read, instead of something to do, just things to do.
Or activities.
Or you can say the public.
I was
Means
good with
everybody.
activities.
The public,
Yeah,
thank you.
public's good.
Yeah, I like that.
And then there's just 2 words missing. Where it says, it is also expected to benefit the downtown economically by drawing people to the area and encouraging them to linger. So we're not drawing people, I mean, we're not drawing the people, we're drawing people to stay here, right? So just say to the area, drawing people to the area.
You don't want them lingering,
And we don't wanna draw on.
really. I don't want homeless people lingering.
Sounds
I
like
think
a
that's-
If you're all set, hey, you let me linger.
For some, yeah.
I'm a homeless lingerer.
That's really nice.
Next page, number 3 and number 4 and number 5, my question is regarding the funding plan. Sometimes we say fundraising, TIF and grants, other times we say DDA budget, Village of Central Lake, donations, local grants. Why can't that be on all of these?
They can be, that's the way it came from the committee.
I think we should make it, cause it might be, maybe we gotta borrow some money, not borrow, but ask the village for money or whoever, let's broaden that, where we can get the dough.
So make that funding plan like on number 4.
Like number 4, put it on all of them.
You think he left lines on
I'm
his face, you look
okay
like
with
a
that.
clown.
Yeah, me too.
Because it doesn't limit you.
I second it.
Does
I
the,
third it.
does the TIF cover the bond indenture that you talked about and answered my question later on?
If it's set up that way, yes, but it doesn't have to be, that just gives us the option to do so. So that's not set up that way, then it doesn't.
Okay.
This is a memory comment on number 5, I don't recall us at the task force saying that we would be staffing an info center. And I've asked Michelle to send me her original, I just don't remember that, is all I'm saying, and I don't want people to go, holy crikey,
Where is that?
at number 5, we expect the facility to be
I don't
staffed
remember that
during
either.
business hours in the summer months. And she doesn't remember if she put it in, and I don't remember us talking about it.
I don't remember putting it in either.
So,
copied
and
it.
I just see people
Be a
blowing
problem.
a
I
heart
agree.
valve on this.
So the whole
So-
sentence?
I would
Just take that out.
just take from
Staff.
we expect
Yeah.
to tourist destination. I mean, let's just let people know that we're doing it, if we start talking about some of these other things, it's gonna be,
So what am I taking out? Staffed?
yeah, I would definitely take the staff.
We expect the facility to be open during business hours, we're trying to say.
Yeah, I should probably remove that too.
Yep.
Because that paints you in the corner.
And, it's kind of a broad statement to say the facility is crucial to the image and the reality of Central Lake as a tourist destination. I mean, if we're trying to keep this generic and vague, then that's,
So we can take from, we expect the whole rest of it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then under timelines, where it's number 1 through 5, just for easier reading, maybe we can put the project title next to it, so project 1, project 2,
Well, how about we
each name.
How about we put the timeline right with each project?
Even better, just match them together so that people
Yeah,
know what they are.
or is that what the 1 and the 2 and the 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 is supposed to mean?
I don't think I'd do that.
No?
Well, you're committing to something.
Well,
Nobody
they
knows if
asked,
we can
no,
commit to it or not.
You have
it's
to.
part of it, you have to tell them a date and how much, and these dates are pretty out there. I mean,
But it also
went
says these
far ahead.
timelines represent target dates only as public input will determine actual results.
But my question would, about being this public, you have an estimated timeline for the 4th quarter of 2018 to do what?
Well, that's what I'm
Put the
saying, you need to
project- I
have the
agree,
project
put it.
with,
They're gonna say, what are you?
what are you talking
You have to
about?
make it simple for them.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
Yeah, I know.
they're gonna read it.
I
make it simple.
agree.
So if it's that easy to do it, put it there.
Right.
That's just my
Put the title of the project right there.
Yeah, right there.
With each one.
And then we don't have to answer the question.
Do the title or move the date up to each point?
I do with both,
Why not do both?
Yeah, I would say that would be,
Okay.
okay.
If we can
just to make it easier. on
cross-reference
your read.
things, that will help the people understand it. TIF plan,
At the end of that one, you might also, these timelines represent target dates only as the public input, only as public input, and funding will determine the actual
Yeah, we went
results.
on the funding. Yep.
Yes.
And weather.
And weather, right. Next page, the TIF plan, this would just insert the adoption date again. Second paragraph, at the time this TIF plan is adopted, insert the date.
Whoa, slow down.
Second paragraph.
Second
at the time
paragraph,
this
at the
takes
time the
increment.
tax increment financing plan
Just has
is
to put a date in
adopted,
there.
insert the adoption date.
First
We
sentence,
don't know what that
second
is
paragraph.
yet, though.
But we're going to, I mean, that's,
I mean, I'm okay with it, I just don't know how to.
we could say, it could say as adopted September 2014, it doesn't have to
Right.
say September 9th.
Well, the whole thing should have a title page that's adopted on a certain date, so that way that's
Well-
when it is adopted. Oh,
That's, and that's a note too I have, that each one of these pages should have a number, a footer, and then adopted and approved on date, so if I lose 5 pages and I only have one, I'm gonna know what this document is.
right.
The title of what it is, so.
Everything always should have a page number 1 of 7.
I don't think we should have the date there, to tell you the truth, when I read it. It's just saying that when that date does happen, that's when we set the initial assessed value. There'll be a resolution somewhere that sets
So
that.
if we
You know what
look
I'm
at
saying?
this, how are we gonna know, I mean, if the heading and the footers and all that stuff is put on there, cool.
Right.
Adopted.
I think it's
Okay.
stick with
And
that.
a revised
Alright.
date?
I just had a question mark on the third paragraph, and now that because Jan took that big hunk of the school stuff out,
Yep.
does this, the percentage of taxes levied for school operating purposes, do we need to leave all that in there?
No, we don't get
So we
any.
wait,
We're
no,
not
no.
So, well,
allowed to take it.
I thought it was another paragraph
Balls
she
is
took
coming
out.
out.
Nope, she took out that paragraph 3.
Oh, there it is, okay, yep, thanks.
Be all right up here.
Yep, good. Whoops, thanks. Next page, estimated capture, third paragraph, it says refer to exhibit C. We need to label whatever exhibit C is.
Oh, I missed that one. Where was that?
Third paragraph.
Yeah.
And then going down a little further to the 3 bullet points. The middle one, it says,
What are you doing?
millages will be renewed throughout the duration of the plan. Do we need to say how long is the duration of the plan, or someone's gotta look back to this and go, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's still 20,044. You know what I'm saying? So do we need
It
to
says it
say
somewhere else in
here?
here. It says it further on down. Duration of the program.
It's 2044.
This is a repayment of bonds or future bonds issued by the authority not
Well,
completed by 2044.
But we're introducing it, right? We can't read later on and then go, oh, back to what it was. I mean, I think it should say,
Oh, are you talking right here under, I'm sorry,
Third bullet.
the third bulletin?
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that in there because I didn't know
Just
what
say
it was exactly.
through the duration of the plan to 2044 or whatever.
So this first initial plan.
Yeah. And Kelly's got the $1 million figured out. And then the 2044 is also mentioned on the next page.
You all agree with the 9? Those people are gonna go ballistic. They're gonna see $1 million out there. They threw it out. Other communities have gotten in trouble by getting terribly in debt and dumping the debt back on the village. That's all I'm saying. I don't want people to think.
And the
I think
village
it's
is,
gotta be
yeah,
clearly explained.
it's clearly explained, but the village is the checks and balances
There
for
are
that.
people that don't like the village council. They don't want the village council to have responsibility for $1 million. I mean, let's be honest. It's,
Here it is, most
you know,
of them can't do that, 'cause they can't commit beyond their term. You know what I'm saying? A council cannot commit beyond their,
well, they do it all the time. They do it with the bond debt on the water debt. They committed to a bond issue for 25 years. And they didn't serve on the council for
yeah,
25
but
years.
that's, there's only there is a certain amount of things you can do it for and others you can't.
I'm sure bond, but this is the same thing, bond is indebtedness, right? Or nobody could ever sell a bond for more than 4 years, because the council member's 4 years.
Alright.
So they have to be able to commit longer
Yes.
than that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I agree it would probably never happen.
Well, the $1 million is,
Is it a point we want to battle with, or we just want to roll over it? That's all I'm saying.
I
Well,
would say lower it
here's
still.
the deal, is that something that can be changed at a later date?
I agree.
Same thing.
All right, but then you're gonna stall
Well,
the
if
whole
we
process,
change
you're
it from
gonna
$1
come
million
back.
to
No,
For this,
no, no, no,
for a public hearing?
$500,000.
Yeah, if you change this, you're gonna have a new public hearing.
Why would you change
That's right.
it?
Well, as I said, if you wanna change the million later, you're gonna come back here to the planning commission meeting, they're gonna change it, you're gonna present it to the council, they're gonna.
No,
they're gonna
yeah,
change
Well,
it.
you're too short, if you end up too short now, if you say, oh, we're doing 1,000, well, now we need 500, now we need such.
Well, I'm not saying to 1,000, I'm just saying, maybe there's a,
Is there a happy medium? Is what-
that's what I'm saying, so people don't get this $1 million shock in their eyes.
If I can, originally, in my first, before I added it and signed it, I put in 250 as a suggestion.
That's just the-
And then when I looked at what we would actually, if I was seeing the tax increment revenue to the DDA, so this year, based on this chart, I'm looking at $1,500. Next year, I'm looking at $3,000. You said 33,000 in your response back.
You spread it, take the total.
He's
divide
averaging it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
33,000 per year for that.
33,000 per year
They
for
just
that many
repeat that
years.
in there, $1 million
2,040.
to aggregate,
Okay.
Yeah, well, I agree, explain it out, so
aggregate
it's
at
understandable.
$33,000 per year over
30 years.
30 years. It's just like saying there's a mortgage and everybody craps themselves when they get their mortgage. And they go, okay, it's gonna cost you $2.5 million for the $1 million house. What do you mean? Well, by the time you have the interest and principal and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's they're gonna say you're committing to $1 million, no, it's only
The 33,000 a year for 30 years.
for
I
30
agree,
years.
strengthen it.
So then I would look at that 33,000 and maybe look at the first 5 years of the DDA when we really are trying to establish ourselves, improve ourselves. And if we set our threshold at 30, say 30,000.
Was all this changeable down the road?
In 5 years, we could
Yeah,
go
but
through
yeah,
this.
so I'm afraid people are gonna see
6
that.
months, can
Like
we
the
change
master
it?
plan.
And they're not gonna wanna
If
say
we
we're gonna
change-
allow anybody to potentially put the $1 million in debt. I mean, I can just see that happening in the community, they're not gonna wanna do it. So if we don't say it, it's not there, so we say 50,000, say 100,000, it's still better than somebody
Why
has
don't
the
you
right
say
to put your $1
33,000?
million.
Why don't
But
you
we have
say
to start all over
33,000
if
a
we
year?
change it. If we
Scratch
change
the
that
million.
number, what has to happen? Anything? We
Another
just-
What happens if you say
Pardon me?
Another public
33,000?
hearing.
Why
We
don't
would
you say-
actually start over.
Yeah, we start the whole process over
Okay.
to change that.
Why
Well, I
don't
think
you
we
say
just explained it like a house.
$33,000 over the?
That this is
per
over
year for
30
the life
years,
of
it's
the
Take
plan?
out the
33,000
million
average
and
is $1
say
million.
33 per year.
It is what it is.
For the
I
life
wouldn't
of
change
the
a
plan.
thing.
Yeah.
Let somebody else figure it out.
See what we're
33
bringing in
per year.
in
For the
income.
life of the plan, $33,000 a year for the life of the plan, right? So if you stop doing it, then it stops. And your exposure is,
I think you're gonna find they're gonna want a dollar amount of maximum bonded indebtedness, not $33,000 a year. They're gonna want a dollar. amount.
no, you heard I said $33,000
For the life of the
for the
plan.
life of the plan.
Which is $1
Well,
million.
someone's gonna
Just
say
say $1 million.
that, go $1
I mean,
million.
what are we doing?
To avoid the-
If it's $1 million, say $1 million. I can do math, I've been to public hearing, do math.
Yeah,
You
but when I
know,
buy stuff
I
for
wouldn't count on that.
$9.99 at the store, it
Right.
sounds better. Why we put-
Rather than $10.
So what are you thinking then to put down?
I like the 33 for 30.
Well, maybe what we could do is just in
It doesn't sound
parentheses,
as
put
scary.
Okay.
33,000 for 30 years.
Let's just say the
Yeah.
public, what is this 33, the question is, what do you mean 33,000 per year for the life of the plan?
Well,
How do we answer that?
No matter what you do, you're
Just-
gonna
Let's
have.
just say that's the question.
No matter what you do, you're gonna have to answer that question,
You could
because
say
if you put
$33.
50,000 down,
well,
I'm gonna wanna know what to spend 50,000 on.
Because that's gonna be what the public's gonna first
So
say.
you're gonna
I
have to
think we're getting
explain
hung up on
it,
the
it's
number,
like a
though.
house.
I think we're getting hung up on the number, the actual bond.
Forget the number, that's gonna be the question.
Yeah, well, actual
It'd be
bond indebtedness
$33.
to be
Yeah,
incurred
I
will
know.
be limited by the amount of revenues anticipated to be received each year that be available for servicing the debt load. It's not like we can get, hey, $1 million, but we don't have any money to do it, so if we have that money to service that debt load,
Well, you just come back when they say $1 million, that's crazy, you show them this thing and say, well, over 33 years, it'll bring in $1,017,000, whatever it is, and this is what we're talking about,
Why
expenditure.
don't you put on the bottom, see attached schedule,
or exhibit C.
exhibit such and
Yeah.
such. How's
So,
that?
And leave it at
As
$1 million.
demonstrated on Exhibit C, blah, 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 blah.
But it doesn't end up being $1 million, it ends up being $999,000, right?
Says here $1,073,000.
Is it? Okay, is that what the total number is?
Is this exhibit C?
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, I missed
Oh.
it.
You're right.
Why don't you redo the math?
So
and make it
as
$1 million, doesn't sound
demonstrated
good.
on
Just
Exhibit
make it
3,
right.
blah, blah.
Well, now you're back to the million.
You can be able to public hearing, it says move on.
Well, the whole idea of night.
Maybe you
is-
should have this printed up and handed out to everybody.
I said, as a group,
Well,
I should be
everyone will
prepared for
look at
questions.
this.
Yeah,
Let's just do that.
What everybody has.
I mean, just think about what they're gonna say.
Alright, so not to get confused, who's gonna be our, we have to who's gonna be the spokesman at this meeting?
Well,
And I think it should be whoever feels like being slaughtered.
I would have this available to hand out to everybody.
Oh, definitely.
And once they all have that, you can explain.
You wanna
Like the rest
sacrifice a
of them,
lamb?
you can't sell bonds for what you can't show you really pay. Nobody's gonna sell bonds for you.
Right.
We need
But I'm
to,
saying,
we need to.
there's checks and
Brian-
So we've had the discussion,
Board
we're gonna have to explain it,
before
we don't
you
want to be
decide.
like a deer in the headlight. Like
There we go.
I agree,
You gotta be ready.
I would, if I was sitting there, I would wanna know
Well,
more about it.
gonna have-
And that's only if we choose that option, we don't have to sell bonds to finance a project. If there's a project that comes up in the next 10 years or 5 years that, hey, we could do this with, this is not a, like,
It's-
oh, we're
it's
gonna
there.
do this.
Alright,
That is the
rather than-
projected income for 30
Maybe it
years,
should
isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that
clarify
what we're
that
saying? So-
if the opportunity to get bonds, maybe we need to add some verbiage in there that says, if we decide.
Well, that's what it says there, actual bond indemnity to be incurred with limited amount of revenues
Well,
anticipated
that-
received. And then it also says,
That may be incurred,
the
not
proceeds
to
will.
be, but that may be incurred. Cause to be makes it sound like, what,
Well, we're gonna
doing
do
it.
something in 30 years.
We're doing it, we're gonna get $1 million.
Yeah, this is true.
So
To be,
say-
it's more,
So,
That may be incurred.
that may be, yes.
Okay, maybe.
Alright, so that fixes it.
I agree with
Alright,
you.
carry on.
Alright, how somebody, okay, now you gotta do is say it, how do you represent it if somebody asks the question? So I think what we gotta do is we gotta agree right now of what our response is gonna be when somebody asks that question.
That's,
Say a half a
that is
dozen other
projected
stuff.
income for 30 years.
It is
I mean,
projected.
the budget's based on what's coming in.
If nobody comes in, it doesn't happen.
Right.
It's as simple as that. We don't,
It may
we
not
won't
even
extend
happen.
it, we don't extend the indebtedness of the community if there's no tax base
To support it.
And I think that's how you gotta answer it
Yeah.
specifically like.
and this chart is based on
Everybody
a
agree with that?
3% increase in
Okay.
real estate each year.
Ken can't
Yes.
speak.
And
I
the
don't
think you can have
taxable
spoken.
taxable value. So that's
And
assuming
no
that
offense,
the
Chris,
taxable
no,
value is
that's what I
3%
love.
every year.
That's
is what
what
this
you
is
can
based
have.
on.
I agree.
Now, some years it may go up 6%.
So
Other
somewhere
years
we're
it may
gonna
go
have
down
to,
4%.
that's not me.
So perhaps
Or some years it go down.
I'm worried.
what we should
Pardon me? I'm
do
worried.
in
You are
the,
worried.
somewhere in here is
And
state
you lose a lot of
that,
people where they go,
that
You
this
do a good
chart
job, don't
is
get me
based
wrong.
on a 3%.
but you gotta be right on that elevator.
It is.
Well, I agree with that.
Escalator listening.
I think that's a
Can't
great
hear
idea.
you.
Just a statement's based on 3%.
It is at the top of the chart. This, Central Lake Downtown Development Authority Tax Increment Financing Plan, 3% projected annual growth.
All right.
It's, I mean, it's stated right there, it's projected, there's no way anybody can tell what's gonna happen.
I see that in the chart, but I would still say that for the public's, and, you know, all intents and purposes, when they're looking at this chart, they're gonna be like, oh, CL Downtown Development Authority, okay, boom, 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 you know, they're not necessarily gonna read all the way across. So if we put that verbiage in the body of the tip, explaining that that is how we came up with the million based on a 3% increase, you know, real estate increase.
Well, he's got
Because-
to refer to Exhibit C, increments based on a 3%, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
As demonstrated, 32,000 per year life of plan is demonstrated in Exhibit C. And so, I can name it projected growth, or projected,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
projected
what I would
revenues.
do.
Is any of them this town have tax?
You might want to put close to that $1 million if this is
I don't
projected
know,
over
man,
30
mine's gone
years
down.
too.
Right.
Because it doesn't say it there, you have to go to the back sheet to see it's for 30 years.
I mean, it's gone
I
down.
mean, if you're gonna
that
indebt me
year
for $1
too.
million, you can
I
do that
mean,
next
if we
week.
do,
You're gonna do it next year,
but my
and I got a problem.
like 200.
But if you're gonna do that over 30 years, based on
Yeah,
3%,
So where
based
do you
on,
want it, so I can-
then I understand that.
Neighborhood.
Right at the beginning, close to that $1 million.
My escrow just went
The
down.
more questions we answer now, the
Go
better.
check the group on that.
Getting
Because it'll be
clear
here.
and concise.
They'll have different
I don't
variations
know how
of the
my
same
escrow
question
could go down
that you need to answer.
when clearly there's more value than anything.
Right.
So, my point being anyways is that in my 5 years now of owning a house, you know, in the township of Central Lake, my value has gone down.
Yeah, they have the recent years, we're almost at the bottom right now, well, hopefully we're at the bottom. And hopefully they'll just continue to increase over time.
But with like a $500,000 investment from my new neighbor who's put in a vineyard and restored a barn and everything else, my value still went down, which doesn't make any sense when all the houses are sold
You
around
really
me,
want to go up?
whatever. Well, I don't care, I mean,
Yeah, I'd
You-
be quiet.
doing the pay,
Don't give Keller any
doing
ammunition.
the pay for like, whatever, I mean, I love it. I
Don't
mean,
give
Here
Keller
you
the
have $1 million for
What are you
the
thinking?
proposed projects, and you could put in parentheses over a 30-year period, and then outline in the development.
And Kelly wants to pay more taxes.
No, she just wants her property worth more.
well, it's just,
Which means-
it's just interesting that, you know, for all the things that I've done personally to the house or whatever, even though all the housing values went down, yeah, I mean, we're at the bottom of the market and it's still.
It might be
like-
5, 10 years before it goes up.
Right, and so
I don't think
then,
Keller knew that. I think he's coming by your house tomorrow.
that's fine, that's cool. Honestly, I'd be happy to.
Same card, maybe some
Because
of
that's
the
a good sign
reasoning.
then for our actual area, is to actually see that increase. It doesn't make me feel very good as a property owner to see it stay stagnant or go down, maybe by $50 or $100. I mean, it's always small. But when I look at this and I think, gosh, we're projecting 33,000 each year of growth, when literally we're at a zero market right now, that's why I think it's really important to explain what this
Right.
million means and
Well,
why.
I've added it in there a bit closer to the million, and for the proposed projects outlined, projects over a 30-year period outlined in the development plan.
And when that's just explained, you're not gonna get bonded unless you show the ability to repay the bond.
Yes.
So, you know, they're gonna look at it and say, there's no way. You're not gonna take this plan to and give $1 million next year.
Right.
You know, that's not, so you can tell them that too,
Yeah.
that you're not gonna get that bond without the ability to repay it, don't relate the bond.
Bottom line is, with all this doing the DDA thing, what are we really, what can we really accomplish when it's all done? If we were to go 5 years from now and look back, what can we really accomplish?
Right.
I mean, that actually, that's a whole nother
It
discussion.
depends if we have
Because that
$1,300 or
$10
$33,000.
But for instance, like,
But that's gonna be a question too.
well, like the Manistee, when we went down to Manistee, went down to Blissfield, Manistee, just for instance, bought their theater, helped renovate it and get it to turn into a nonprofit, to actually operate a theater and
That helps draw people down.
draw people in, they've actually, they're paying it back already the first year. Things like that, the DDA helps kind of like kickstart, so to speak. It's like, they help kickstart with TIP and volunteer organizations in Main Street. That's just like one project in that town, that's huge for the town.
The idea behind at least getting this part done is we get our TIF program in place, so we have funding for other projects that we wanna do in the downtown area, for
I'm
improvement.
just
Right now, our
using
theater is
that
open
as a general
space.
question.
That we're trying to like, draw 10 more people to Fudgies or in the downtown area or something like that, as part of us helping the downtown.
I bought a house downtown, Central Lake, moved into the area 2 years ago. I want the town not to be bonded. Don't make it grow. That's why I moved here. That's how some people look at it. I'm just using a few hypotheticals here.
If we're past $1 million, let's keep moving. It's
Right,
8
let's
o'clock.
Okay.
We get 6 conversations, we'll be here all night.
We're on the next page, duration of the program. One was just issued by, just spelling out DDA or saying DDA, it just says issued by the authority.
Because it's,
That's- Now, and, well, before that, my question is, if repayment of the bonds or any future bonds issued by the authority,
it is the.
the authority, is that the tax authority or is that the
It's not
DDA
the
or who
DDA,
is it?
I believe that's the authority over us. That if you read the last,
So-
Village
it's the
council.
village council,
Issued by the,
I think.
Maybe we should put in
say who
parentheses
that
village
is, like who
council.
that is, or?
CO.
I guess I'm not completely sure of that.
Is that, you know, Ken?
Because this was a legal document that was,
Yeah, it'd have to be the village council, because they're gonna extend the development plan, until the
Yeah,
bonds.
it does, it has to be the village,
Yeah, it
issued
is.
by the village.
so,
So we can't take out bonds in our 29th year of the development plan and then
Right.
shut it down or something afterwards. let me do
So
it.
if we
I
can
would,
just
I
clarify
would find out
who that
first.
is.
DDA might very well be able to issue their own bonds with permission from the village council, and that's why it says authority.
No, the village of Central Lake, must approve any bonds or indebtedness which
Right.
Must
pledge the
approve.
full,
I mean, just check
which
it.
pledge the full faith and credit for the village of Central Lake.
Check it.
We can't do it without, we can't get our own
The
bonds.
bonds, I check, if you check with other towns, they will be, because other towns get in trouble when they inherit the bonded indebtedness from the DDA that failed.
We
I think,
can't,
I would ask that
Well,
question.
bottom
Ours
line
is
is
subject to the
village,
village
we-
approval in the first place, though?
all our
I
budget
think that maybe
items,
they approve the DDA getting, I don't know, I'm just saying, it's a question we should ask before we.
all our budget
answer, 'cause
items.
I don't know the answer.
Alright, so
Just-
question mark that, let's.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Well, hold on, before we move on.
Why don't you check with Jan on that and just correct it,
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
You're gonna say?
you know?
well, all budget items have to be approved by the village council, regardless. And even if we've got our own money in
So
bonds sitting
so
over
we
here,
approve the DDA, the council approves the DDA issuing bonds.
in the budget every year.
Well, when you issue bonds, they're gonna be for 20-some years. or
Yeah,
30.
but you.
But
in the
annually
budget
approved?
every year, it should be the repayment of the bonds, is what I'm getting at. Because you approve the budget every year, the village
I think we're on
approves.
two different subjects, though. You're saying who are the bonds issued by? I don't know.
Okay.
Right, is that the
Okay,
question
well,
we're
let's-
asking?
let's-
Who really
Yeah,
issues the bonds?
right.
We don't have to go
Figure
through
out
the
who it
village
is.
council, but there's gonna be a
But
name
Jan-
on the bond.
One phone call to
Jan
Jan,
will
she can
know.
answer that, just make the
Well,
change.
I'll send the whole thing back to
We're
her,
good.
she'll read through it and
Okay.
we'll be,
Yep.
in light of the school stuff being taken out, it says the intermediate school district, the local school, why do we need that
Where's
sentence
that?
in there?
Yeah.
The second paragraph
The
under
estimated.
estimated impact on
Intermediate school
necessity.
district, the local school district, the state of Michigan should pay the tax on.
Receive revenues from all increases in taxable value,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's just a statement that probably should be in there,
I
because
think so.
Okay,
we're not taking any
alright,
of those
that's, I
numbers.
just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I think that clarifies it even more.
Yeah, that way the school doesn't come in and
School
go,
mill in there.
oh, what are you doing?
They do get their increases. Correct.
Alright,
Well,
this is just a
maybe
little
then
comma thing going down over.
the only other thing I would then add is we'll still receive regular revenues or whatever.
Well, that kinda does, doesn't it? I mean,
Well, it says that we'll receive
revenues from all increases in
all
taxable.
increases in taxable value.
Okay.
Alright, so next big paragraph. Looks like the very last sentence which says, this increase in activity will in turn generate additional amounts of tax revenue. In the previous sentence, we said, the overall impact of the TIF plan is expected to generate increased economic activity. I think that's a pretty broad assumption to say that that will in turn generate additional amounts of tax revenue, increase assessed valuations, blah, blah, we should say it's expected to.
Well, if it is expected,
Overall impact is
And it
expected
happens,
to
then it
generate
will.
increased economic activity. This
This
increase,
increase in activity is expected to generate additional amounts of tax
how
revenue.
about this increase in expected activity?
No, I think it says it first. First it says it's expected to generate increased economic activity. Then if that works, it says this increase in activity will in turn.
Yeah,
Right.
it-
An
So
increase.
you're following through, it's already saying expected. If the first expected doesn't happen,
But
the
it's
second
not-
certainly doesn't.
Yeah.
The increase
It's an awesome
means to
business
generate
statement.
increased activity, that's what the increase is related to.
Maybe change out this and put in hence. Hence the increase in economic activity, or
Good,
hence,
yeah.
hence the increase in activity will in turn generate. It just cleans it up.
Right?
Here's, how you answer that, if somebody comes up with a question that
Yeah,
say,
define hence.
okay.
Well,
So what I'm saying is how you
just
answer it
keeping
in
the
public.
language the same, it's expected
If you-
to increase.
if
Keep in mind, this is a legal
Therefore, it's
document,
expected
the less
to
changes
increase
you make,
that.
the better.
It's
If you
not,
make
we can't
improvements
assume
in
that
your
it will
town,
in
you
turn
attract more
generate, it
people
may
and
not do
increase the
anything.
tax base,
And that's what
make
Tim
your
is saying, it
town
doesn't
more
happen, then it will.
attractive.
Right.
The following,
And
the base
so
will
we
have
wanna
to,
move here.
B's not gonna
Yes.
happen.
Right.
Which will enhance and increase your tax.
Maybe it could
base.
say this increase in activity could generate additional amounts. Doesn't mean it's going to, but it could.
Oh, wow, you're really getting down into that.
I think
Who
this is
cares?
very
I think-
self-evident.
I think it's
Explain
I
itself.
think-
Alright,
Too much
alright, I can live without that one.
I think you're right.
Alright, typo on reports on the next page, number 3. It says it should be on increment financing plan, not A.
I'm not sure where you're at.
Yeah, we're
Number
at,
three,
Number
Oh,
Number
it
three.
should be and.
Should be and.
and,
And.
Then I just had a question on this graph, did this come from NLEA?
and that came from the Manistee Downtown Development Authority.
Okay, so we should say where this came from. You know?
It was off Google Images, is what you told me.
No, you can't do that.
That's just the basic thing that should be
Just source
there.
it.
You bootleg this?
You just source it though.
Yeah,
Just
source
bootleg
it,
it,
source
like-
it from www. wherever.
I don't
I
think
don't know where it
we
came
no.
from. You could create
We
it.
could bootleg it, that'd be like saying you bootleg the alphabet, that's just what it does. I mean, seriously, that's just,
It's
that's
in
the
the
way it's
public
rolled.
Supposed to be a source.
It's in the public domain
Yeah,
now.
I just,
Yeah, yeah, it's,
You can get
Oh,
all,
look where I got this from. It needs to say where it came from.
Still, if you do a quote on Facebook, you know, from somebody
Needs to say where it
else and
came
you
from.
don't source it.
That's
then
my
you could
last and
get-
final thought.
I understand.
So,
Just say where it came
it,
from.
it's a valid.
where'd it come
point.
from?
Just.
I received it via email from, oh, I can't remember his first name, the Main Street manager at the, Manistee
So-
DDA.
Where'd he get it from?
Courtesy.
He said he got it via Google Images.
Where'd Google get it from? It never ends.
Yeah.
Just say courtesy of the Main Street Manistee.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I
Or
just disregard a hundred
courtesy of the
percent.
Main Street
100%.
program.
It's our plan, it's our graph, it's our stuff.
I can recreate
We
it.
didn't take their numbers, we didn't take anything.
No, it's very
And
general
the same thing
information.
with the other one, I mean.
I tell you what, change the
who
font
made these?
to Clarendon bold and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's just showing how a tip works. That's not a plan, or anything, that's just showing the basic concept of how a tip
it
works.
doesn't say, it doesn't say.
You guys are
Nothing,
just-
no, we didn't take that from you, that's how a tip works.
A lot of the stuff, maps and stuff like that is just,
No, it's
I know what you're thinking.
over your head.
What is our bond rating?
Pardon me?
What is our bond rating? You don't know?
Ken, you know?
I won't say off there, it's,
Like,
I think you did have an interesting.
we've been bond
about
bonds,
adding
bond
to the
bonds,
DDA
a
area.
very good bond rating.
And
Yeah,
whether we
why not?
should
I
be
can find
doing
out
that
from
now
them,
or
sure.
not.
I think we should
Like,
get it
yeah.
now.
And if all we are is a picture of a map, then I don't see any real problem.
I thought that too,
Extending
why,
it.
what's, why
Can
can't
we
we
extend the
extend it?
DDA area without too much of a hassle
oh, I have a question. on
to
that.
include some of like the gas station, other areas?
Well,
we
you
see
do, it
right
has to be
now?
contiguous,
Pardon me?
it has to be contiguous. You try going to the gas station, they're gonna tell you that's not downtown.
Once that's
You
done,
you
though-
can't have gaps in it. You try to extend it
Well,
all the way down to the
You
gas
can't say the
station.
downtown
Historical
is
Society or
7
Wild.
blocks.
Well, there's the flowers and there's, I mean, all that is turning to retail.
The church.
What is
I don't think you
Is all
can
that
mention
zoned
it, I
home
don't think
to
you can mention
retail?
it as part of a downtown.
Well, and the problem is, because we're grandfathered into 1992
You'll collect no taxes.
boundaries, we won't collect any taxes off it. We'll just be able to spend it in more areas. But once you're opening kind of a kettle of worms, I don't know what would happen necessarily. Right now, from everything I've read, we're grandfathered in. Antrim County's unable to opt out of our TIF financing. Essentially, Township's unable to opt out of the
Right.
TIF financing. So we're gonna capture those revenues. And then once we change that, then Antrim County go, we're done.
So there is a
There's no
downside to
revenue.
changing it.
Well,
So.
we don't lose what we have.
That
No,
all
you just
makes-
won't gain.
It's not that
Oh,
much.
that all
difference.
makes
So there's no
sense.
purpose.
I don't.
But then I think that we
Go ahead.
need to remember projects like we were talking about building a stage at Thurston Park. We can't put the money that we're not getting tax money from into an area
Right.
that we're not getting tax money
anything
from.
Thank you, that was
Even though
my
it's
question
supporting.
too.
Right.
So
But stay
that's,
within that area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of projects we can do inside of that area.
I think it warrants looking into.
Well, we can do this
do.
later. It's not something that has to be done now either.
Right.
but.
Let's
same-
get up and
Ways to
running,
spend
and then
money,
we can play with
Things
it.
that promote the downtown area outside, I would guess.
the same
Yes,
thing.
and
Ways on marketing or
But
whatever.
you can't like build a building or stuff like that. Marketing probably would.
And the same thing goes with the flower maintenance too. Anything that's not within that area, we wouldn't be doing. So technically, we wouldn't be doing in front of the Masonic.
Correct.
Lawrence's does their own. So those are some things to point out that, you know, money collected in the DDA gets spent in the DDA area because that's where the monies are collected and that's whatever.
Right.
Even though the DDA is here to help the Main Street program, which is the downtown. So anyways, it gets back to our goal, our main mission. But I think we've,
Well, if there's a risk of losing what we've got to expand it a little bit.
You don't lose it, you don't lose it.
Timing is everything.
They won't take it from you.
Yeah, I think we do need to look at that in the future, like, to see what we can work within our town and what borders we can move.
Can we make a motion to accept this subject to the changes we made in contacting Jan to straighten out that one area?
I would second that.
All right, then I would like to make a motion that we accept the development plan and the TIF plan Subject to the changes that were made at this meeting.
Hold on, that's
And
He's writing it down. We were supposed to be writing all these down, and I didn't get the sheets here in time. Rachel had asked us to write down all motions.
subject to changes.
subject changes that we've agreed to at this meeting and contacting Jan to clarify an area that we have all agreed upon.
What's Jan's last name?
Kellogg.
Can we put her last name in that?
That'd be a good idea.
And
Either that or we could call any Jan.
And I will second that motion.
I know a couple
I don't like to
Jans.
get offensive, yeah.
Where's Brothers? Brothers?
Yeah, with a broad stroke.
Hey, Jan, it's good with you?
All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Do we wanna do a roll call, or do we wanna do?
What, beautiful.
Do we wanna do,
I would do a roll call.
I would do roll call vote.
let's do a roll call vote? Yeah, Cory faster, Mr. Secretary.
That we can find out who the,
You might wanna bring your laptop next time.
Roll call vote, I'm right there.
this is such an important thing, I think it is a great idea.
Okay. Bridges?
Approved.
Who's doing A? Cory Hoeskma,
Yes.
Yes.
Ries Hoeskma. Mr. Kenyon,
Yes.
Mr. Clerk?
Kruse.
He's not here.
Mr. Kruse?
Yes.
Chris.
I'm thinking of that. Yes.
Move on.
Bryon.
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Melissa.
The motion passes.
Thank God. Good job, everyone.
I think what you do is just put your name.
It took a year, pumpkin, but we did it.
So next one.
Vote for
Vote
Shelley.
for Bob.
Yeah.
Smiling at me.
Good job, Cory.
Yep, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
Everybody?
Thank you guys all for your
A
hard
lot of
work.
work.
So,
We love this guy.
the next step with that is
Yeah.
the council has to schedule a public hearing
Hey.
and draft an ordinance adopting
After we get it
plan.
approved, then it goes to them for approval, then public hearing.
Yes. I don't even know if it's approval first. I think it's public hearing,
Public hearing.
then
Public hearing,
approval.
then approval?
Yes.
It's got my fingerprints on it.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
want
I
the
just
public
wanted
to-
The council probably wants to see it in front of them, so they know that's what's going on
Yeah.
to the public. We don't wanna pass it all in front of us.
Well, we gotta make the
Why
changes.
not?
Show the public hearing, because it looks really bad.
Just trust us, Ken.
So how do we actually give this to you? Just print it up
Just
and hand
print it up,
it
hand
to
it
you?
to us, we'll make copies, have one for the council members, and then they can look at it and say, okay, we're okay, let's go ahead with the public hearing.
Okay.
All right, oh, sorry, do we have any more?
Well, just kind of caveat and complete this whole, if you guys, if the council gets, has any issues, direct them back to us to
Well, Cory
answer.
will be there.
I'll be there to
But,
It'll
do
go
the
through.
report.
I'll go out and say that. It'll-
Yeah. Oh, we found Cory for this
They
meeting.
trust the media.
His secret name is Lamb Chop.
but then, when we get into the public
Alright,
hearing,
that's
what-
all.
Lamb
It's hard to change it.
Lamb Chop because he's gonna give us slaughtered.
I gotta start.
Okay, I don't think we're
No, but basically, I was trying to get to was that we, if there's something that comes back, and however, we gotta take care of it, so it does get pushed back up. But then the public hearing piece, if that's something as a board, like, we could be there, like, either have one or two representatives, and then just the rest of us in the crowd, we could set that up and be aware of, so we're all, like, we don't have to make a meeting or a special meeting,
Possible
but,
to be at the public hearing from the DDA.
Yep.
But we want some
Well, you're keeping us advised of when it is and what's going on.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so we'll send an email out to everybody
yep, it's gonna take a while.
and say this is what's going
We're gonna send
on.
out letters, it's quite a
Now,
crazy little process.
That whole process happens from the village council, correct? So as far as, we don't necessarily have to draft the letters and do all that, the village council will do that?
When is your next meeting?
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
A week Thursday?
No, this is the.
So if we get this to you, you have that at that meeting?
I'll have it to you by Friday.
Yep, and then it's probably gonna take a couple more.
Okay, yeah.
Because you gotta know, you gotta send a letter to every property owner in there, you gotta publish in the paper twice, it just depends on the timing. July,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
September, October, maybe November, before it gets back, just on how it all plays out.
Okay.
The letters can get out.
Let's continue moving on, it's 8:15.
Let's go.
On to new business.
Havoc.
A and B are kind of the same.
When's it due?
Letter commitment Main Street is due, I think it is the 29th of September.
So
September?
this can be written down and approved at
29th
the
of
next council
September.
meeting,
No.
so we don't have to have a,
Doesn't have to be anything written, it can just be, the last one we did was we just accepted it via a motion and a vote, and the meeting minutes served as
that's
our.
because we were enrolling in the program per se, so we needed council to have the special meeting to approve it.
Yeah, well,
Now we're just writing a letter which says we wanna be
we'll
a part
continue on
of
with the Main Street program.
So all we gotta do is approve writing a letter of
it.
commitment.
Alright,
Yep,
I make that motion, let's do it.
Wait a second, she's making a motion.
we should ready.
The motion was, let's do it.
Yeah,
The
write the letter, let's go!
The motion is to,
Write the letter
I'll commit.
to keep us in the Main Street program.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Who is writing the letter from the board?
The secretary.
Yes.
Just why don't you clear that up?
I know,
Otherwise, it's, okay.
The secretary can do it. And then the other thing that we have to do that's kind of time sensitive is to form a Main Street steering committee. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, it could be just a couple members from the board, but this is a recommendation of theirs, to kind of direct the Main Street program, kind of have it be its own committee. To involve the public, have members of the public be on the committee, but have it chaired by somebody on the DDA.
They like lots of involvement.
The-
And residents and,
So I guess my suggestion is to have it chaired by somebody on the DDA or a couple people from the DDA, and then put it out there that this is something for the community, and maybe put up some bulletin boards or, you know.
I'll
get the
co-chair.
information out there to the
Co-chair.
community about the steering committee.
Yeah, just to get information out about the steering committee, and there's actual homework that's involved with it and everything else. So,
something here?
I guess,
Oh, yeah, it's the only thing I do here.
the question I have, I guess, is who wants to help?
I'll co-chair, Tom does.
Would you be interested in
What,
in
three of
doing
us?
that too?
Sure.
How's that?
Where's that?
What about us
This
three?
cough drop.
Try chairs.
Yeah, well,
For the next couple of months, I'm not gonna be around, it's the only thing. You know, I mean, I'm just gonna be virtually out of.
So go with two chairs and Tom wants to join later.
These two, and I'll
Would
assist
you
when
guys mind?
needed.
that's fine.
That's
That
And,
works, works for me.
And I can give you all the stuff that they gave us the
I
last few
still got
meetings.
all that big bunch of notes from the Blitzfield thing, which, yes, a lot of that was incorporated into the second.
It was, and then there's a lot more of it that came from that
Who was
meeting
at the
too.
meeting that the lady was, that talked about?
I'm not reading
A few months ago,
Who was it?
she sat over there. and she-
That was Patty
That's
Hill.
Patty.
Patty.
Okay.
That was Patty Hill.
I'm
And-
sure
and
she'll be on the
she'll be
committee,
wonderful.
she will be. I'm
She's
sure
dynamite.
she will.
Where's Patty? I guess kind of expected it.
They, I think they're trying
Where we
to
at?
make a,
We're right here,
so-
we're doing
Patty?
the steering committee.
Well, I mean, still in the
Getting
area, but just out of the house.
So do we, so I'm gonna put a motion out there to have Melissa and Nancy co-chair.
Hey, we can put Michelle on there since she's not here.
Yeah.
I'm teasing Michelle.
She's small.
So I make a motion to have Melissa and Nancy co-chair the Main Street Steering Committee.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
And we don't have to delve into this as much right now. The use of the open space that's over there, do we wanna set up the schedule, a calendar, just leave it open to the public to set it up? Do we try to manage that in any way? I mean, it's just there. We wanna make sure it's utilized to the best of its potential.
I know that Michelle's not here. But maybe there could be a book that, so that we're not overlapping, because you could be not using it for 30, or 29 days, but on the 30th day.
6
Three-
people are gonna want it.
Right, and being that it's her place that she donated the space and she's physically, the building's there, maybe we could have, I don't know what you call it, a calendar appointment book or something.
I was thinking like a desk calendar.
Well,
and just
Well,
like-
but what's it gonna be for? Is it gonna be for a family to go have a picnic there, or is it gonna be for Kenny Thompson to come over?
Well, if you guys
Is it
have
gonna
other
be for
people that wanna
DDA
do that.
events, or, I mean, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you need some kind of
Well,
guideline that says what's
I
it
think if you
for.
live there next to it, that you ought to be the person that
Well-
puts calendar.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, right.
maybe this is even
We
discussion
gotta-
for
I
another
vote
day.
for Cory, anybody?
Okay, so
Second.
second.
I do agree.
Yeah, you hang the
I'm
window.
right
Second.
there.
Oh, look at
Anybody
that.
want
Oh,
a
it should be
second?
Cory.
online, why does it gotta even
Just-
be a
What did Cory say?
paper book?
I can't be involved, I got too much going on. If I have to manage that, I would, stuff would.
Well, I
Can
think
we
you
just
should
get
see
a sheet
it,
of
I think
paper
if you
that
can
says-
see it from
I
Write
across,
down
don't
when
know
somebody's
why
gonna
we
use
have
it.
right now.
I think if you can see it
It
from
could be
across the
worried
street.
about
you
another
can-
day when we have 80,000 people.
Well, maybe we
asking
could
us
have
to-
Well, and the thing is, I guess the question I wanted to say is, do we wanna have like a phone number there for somebody to call if they wanna use the space? We want people to use it, so it just sits there and it's not gonna get used and nobody knows who to talk to.
Isn't
Okay,
it-
but what are,
isn't it
I do
a
think there
public
needs to be some
space?
guidelines, no
Well,
offense.
it is.
I'm not a
So are they
KKK
gonna go
fan.
ahead and use it? I mean, with,
What if they
without,
want to use
It
it?
should follow the same
We'd have
procedures
one.
as Thurston Park.
We'd have to-
right?
If someone wants to use it, they gotta call.
I mean, how do you,
the
where do you,
village.
so you
Well, we
can't,
talked about
you can't put
discriminate
a
on
the
Zoom.
committee,
You can discriminate,
just
but they can
oversee
use it
that,
for us.
just like you would with the
Yeah, they
farmer's
can
group
market.
using it.
But is that a
They
motion?
can't do,
No,
so they, so it can be
we really
used for
gotta keep
anything,
one
basically.
conversation going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
you guys got too much
I'm
going on
asking
here.
They're
questions,
talking.
A bikini contest.
Guys,
Okay.
I'm serious.
we have too much going on.
I am too.
Let's
okay, what was the question?
No, I was gonna say, we had talked about creating committees to oversee these things, so it's not something we're talking about everything, all the time.
Right.
So like the farmer's market, there would be a committee, and they would answer to the board or come back to us with the changes or what's going on.
Right.
Can we do the same thing with this piece of property? Is create a
Yeah, have
little
like three
committee,
people
and
that-
let them oversee it and.
I would say for now, for what it's worth, because I have very limited time, but if people wanna contact me, if they're interested in using the space, you can give them my village market, Casey Young at villemarket.com, if they're interested in booking some special use of the space. Otherwise, I feel like we should do a public announcement to the community saying that anybody's welcome to go onto the property, lay a blanket down, have a picnic, just like they would at Thurston Park, whatever. But if you're gonna be there for
Or venue.
a lengthy
An event of some
venue
kind.
type of thing, they can contact me. I will get a hold of Michelle out of respect for her because it's technically still her property. It's not like she
That's what I was
donated it
thinking.
to the village. And make sure that
Are we leasing it?
We're leasing it.
We're leasing it.
We mean,
Yeah.
okay, so.
I don't wanna step on their toes, but it really
Yeah, it
is,
is.
at least on the property. to
I
do.
do.
Well,
however it works,
I-
then
Yeah, I think
people
you're
want
good,
to.
too.
I think there
I
should be a list of rules and
think-
regulations for
I
the
think
property, just
that
like
go with the
park
public
property.
I think it's great that Kelly wants to put her
Yeah.
number out there, but I think we have someone at the village 40 hours a week that can take a phone call. I think it should be just like Thurston Park, you wanna book it, you call the village
I think
office.
Rachel can book it.
I agree, and I think we need rules and regulations.
Well, is that a motion?
Just like a park.
I make a motion, we table this till
Yeah,
next
I'll
month.
make a motion,
Oh, hold on, we got a motion on the floor from Randy.
okay.
I make a motion, we table this till next month, because this is extensive to talk
It
about.
could be,
And we've got a big chunk we've done tonight.
yes.
Yes.
All right,
On next month's agenda, we'll have rules and regulations of
I
open
second
space,
Martin's
correct?
motion.
Then we can-
all in favor?
Until we get rules about the bikini contest or next week, everybody's
It
interested.
let me do that again, all in
Well, we
favor?
can't table
Aye.
it with the criteria that
Well, I
we're
think
gonna
the
show
question-
up with rules next month, we gotta
Well, I
say,
think.
we'll talk about it next
everybody's
month, and
got
who's gonna make the rules.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 2 months before we have rules.
Well, actually, if everybody comes next month with ideas for rules, we can have it at next month's meeting.
If everybody can figure out what.
You
Postpone it.
ideas for,
Yes, postpone.
Table it.
Everybody think about it.
should there be alcohol allowed?
I learned that. This is just a
Okay,
word.
no,
Okay, so I mean, we
All
need
right,
to
hey,
we need to cross
sorry.
it.
Too many side conversations.
I agree.
Let me ask you this,
Let's
what's the
bring it back.
matter with just following the same rules?
It's Thurston Park.
Well, yeah, that's, so then we should adopt those rules, that's it, we should
Can
adopt
can you
rules for
send
that.
those out to everybody?
Yes.
Thank you.
It shouldn't be any different excluding
We
like
can
the
just look at
alcohol.
those.
I mean, we can't have 200 people crammed in that
No,
space.
that could be just the same.
We could try.
You could, but you're between us.
It'd be fun,
That'd be the whole town, yeah.
Mandatory.
All right,
exciting.
let's move on.
Yeah.
Item D,
Beer floats.
You're not holding the cloak down, you're out of here.
guys, let's move on.
That's admission.
Item D,
I'll kick back.
I received a letter from Martin Kirk
Oh,
earlier today.
no.
To Cory Hoeskma, the Central Lake Downtown Development Association, I think he meant authority. With the submission of this letter, I resigned from the Central Lake Downtown Development Association. As most members of the DDA know, I'm active in the Lions and in the Masons, and I'm a local business owner. My board seat can be better filled by a person with more time to devote to the mission of the DDA.
I support the mission of the DDA and have appreciated the opportunity to serve on the board. Martin Kirk. So I was disappointed to hear that.
Me too.
And I understand why. He's got a lot of responsibilities, between the Lions and the Masons.
Take on extra work at garage, too.
And work at the garage, so I understand that, so I
And what's
make
his
them,
term, do you remember, is it a 2-year
I have to
or
look
one
it
I'd
year?
have to look it up, I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
couldn't remember.
so I make a motion to accept Martin Kirk's resignation.
I
So, okay.
Second by Young. All in favor?
I'm not,
With,
No,
Misty protests,
I do.
all
I
right,
accept it.
under
Hey, Cory, what
protest.
was the deal with Michelle? She's still on board then?
as far as I
Yeah,
know, as
she's
of right
still
now.
on.
Okay.
School just started 2 days ago, so she's probably
She's
wrapped
like-
up with
she
that.
said she was
Overwhelmed beyond, I believe.
I guess we're on to public comment. Any public comment?
Could you put the plan on the
website?
I'm not sure yet, I don't know what the procedure is.
For what?
The draft,
For the
I wouldn't
draft
put it
plan.
out until it's been,
Approved.
by
it says
council.
we're putting out for a public hearing.
Yep.
Yeah, and then at that point, I'd say we can find a place to put it on.
Yep.
But I'd say until we do that step first,
yeah, cause there's, could be changes made up
Yeah.
until right that minute.
then we can put it out there.
Alright.
All right, any other public comment? Public comment period is closed. Board comments, does anybody have anything they would like to add?
thanks for the work.
There are no agenda items on your agenda, no action items? You don't have a spot for action items?
This is the form we adopted when we did the,
What kind of action item under new business?
the,
But if it's something you know you're gonna vote on, it's really considered an action item.
Well, we-
It's something I'd take- I mean, I know it's trivial.
we need to
but
change our
something I'd take
bylaws
action
then,
on.
because our bylaws indicate this form. And I was gonna actually talk to you, I've been
Well,
swamped.
that was one of the things that we had mentioned too, is it's been a while since we've looked at those bylaws, like what, a long time, a year? Now we've got experience, I think that we should look at it again, put that on the next agenda if you wouldn't mind, bylaws, and there's also
There
procedures.
should be two different documents.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is a procedures, I know there is
well,
bylaws.
there should be in light of all the things we just talked about with the TIF and development plan.
So we will look at that.
Why don't you get a copy of what they use for your meetings?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Any other board comments?
Yeah, just real quick on Randy's thing, I really think next month, or month after, we should really all think about things that we are gonna accomplish in the next 5 years. So when people ask, I wrote some things down, realistically, yeah, we say there's gonna be $33,000 a year, there's not. So realistically, as a DDA, what do we truly think we can accomplish
$1,000 for
in
5 years.
5 years? Then we go forward, and we gotta have a goal on something, the skate rink, that's great, it's done, the open space, we've got the lot beside the bank, we want a public restroom here, there. Realistic things we truly believe we can financially achieve with the way things look right now today.
Well, I think we need to reactivate the things we had talked about before, is the planters, the benches in the
Yes,
street.
put a dollar figure.
Things that
out
we
and
can
then-
do that don't cost a lot, but they can have a lot of sight, people see them.
Because we have a very limited
Well,
budget.
it's focusing on what's on the development plan. and
There's not too much
executing.
money, it just realistically isn't.
Well, and maybe that needs to be the focus, that's
Well,
TIF
that's
money,
the
so
funding.
there's other funding sources, there's grants, there are
Fundraisers.
fundraisers, there's other things we can do to make money. And actually, the Main Street program has they've got some great ideas, in which we can delve into and you guys can discuss it. I kinda wanna be involved, but I don't wanna chair, I don't want responsibility.
And Nancy has brought to the table, you said you were a grant writer,
Yes,
and that's a
Excellent.
great asset, so we appreciate being able, hopefully to be able to,
Utilize
on
your
some of that.
skills.
well, yes.
We're
So,
gonna work
so who's gonna,
with
what you say, who's gonna track down available grants? I've heard a lot, they say a lot. of
I've
grants.
been looking
Who's
at
gonna
them
track
all.
down what are viable available grants that we should pursue? Because there's a bunch of them out there, and probably 5% of them
It's a
fit.
full-time
So-
Well,
job.
really, it's getting a hold of the right people to start finding out about them too.
So I
So I
think,
would,
Yeah, but somebody's got to do, somebody has to
Right,
take that
start working.
process on.
Kelly, you had a comment?
I was gonna say, why don't we put that on the agenda for next,
Okay,
next
give
time?
somebody else.
well, let's see if we can appoint somebody to head up that.
Or everybody do a little look by next month, and then maybe we have a better discussion on it.
And there's all kinds of information available online
That's what
and
people.
organizations and foundations that give and who specifically or what specifically they give to and for.
I'm actually
redevelopment
meeting with the
historic.
Grand Traverse Regional Foundation next
Oh.
Monday. So that might, I'll ask them.
And then locally and by state, they have who's giving and what they're giving for, how much they gave last year to the dollar, and who they gave it to, so you know which school or which college got the money. So it helps find where you're gonna direct the grant to go to.
Northern Lights is a good one.
North Lakes Economic Alliance, the Northwest Council of Governments, I think, has some, were they the ones?
Any one of them that you can call that might give you.
I'll tell you what, you get ahold of Jean Kellogg and she can direct you into
In
10
which
different
department?
directions.
We gotta
to go.
find out where Short's
Yeah, right.
going.
We need to send her some.
All right,
She's amazing.
Yeah, check
Yeah.
Short.
let's redirect a second. Do we have any other board comments other than, we're gonna look at grants for next time?
Well, we should look at the farmer's market.
We actually have some news on
Yeah.
that, but that'll be next time.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't wanna
Look
bring
at
to
the
this.
planters. If we wanna do something there, I think we should also, look at the benches, the 3 benches you put in. I don't even watch at night, but there's people in them all the time. That's wonderful.
They come over from
Yeah.
Cheesy and ice cream.
Well, I'm saying realistic, because at $900,000 a bench, you'll burn up your budget on benches. I mean, that's, I'm saying, that's realistic. You go out and buy 4 benches, you probably shot next year's budget.
Oh, yeah.
How much were the benches that are in there now? The
Well,
ones that we
the
just
Lions
moved
Club
up?
donated them, didn't they?
Yeah, I have no idea what those would cost. But like the benches you were
just
looking at,
saw
900, well, I'm just
No,
saying we
we
have to be
took the whole
realistic, I'm all
bench,
for
that's
it, but we
the
got.
They were
Right, those
650,
little
is that what
wooden
you're
ones or
saying?
whatever.
650.
So-
Well, I agree, people use them,
Well, but they're
but
wrought
Yeah.
iron, and I mean,
they were very good, last forever.
they were plastic,
Guys.
coated.
So let's
I'm gonna
close
give
it.
Cory a hammer.
I need a hammer.
Let's close it
Gavel?
and move it to next
Yep,
meeting.
let's do it next
because
meeting.
We've covered
All right.
everything.
We worked hard, thank you, everyone. You're all rock.
Um,
Especially you, Corbett.
all right, we're moving on to chairman comments then. And I don't have anything other than thank you, everybody, for working on this and helping out, and I feel like we're really going somewhere with it. At least making progress on paper. I don't have anything else. So we move on to adjournment, and I move we adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess.
Bag it, clean it.
I know it, and I,
Don't know where it goes. We got golden benches for $650 we on that.
Yeah, no,
Why get all those times?
No, those, the aluminum ones that we moved up.
Let's find out anything else, or?
You know those, those commissioners,